Shalom, shalom, brother Darnall.
Azrael.
Coming back with another video. A little bit earlier today, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, man. On this Think About It Thursday. And the title of this video is going to be "We Must Keep Integrity." Right? We must keep integrity. First and foremost, we want to give all honor, glory, praise, and thanks to the Most High God, by way of His Son, who is an instrument of salvation for the nation. Right? And so we do so. Coming on here every week, making our calling and election sure, trying to edify the sheep, right? A few ways, right? We come on here to edify to feed the sheep that's already been herded back. And then, we go on the highways and byways to reel in those lost sheep that need to return, right? So, this is what real husbandry is all about. This is what real shepherdmanship is about, right? We talk about being cowboys all the time. This is what being a real cowboy is this is what cowboying is, right? You got to be able to take care of the animals, and when they get lost, you got to be able to reel them back in. So we come on here week in and week out, and trying to make our calling and election sure, and to get these tasks done, right? Put our brick in. But without further ado, man, we're gonna jump straight into it. Shalom, brother Yeshaya.
Shalom.
The title of the lesson is gonna be "We Must Keep Integrity." Right? I'm gonna share my screen. I got about two witnesses to go over. Won't be before you guys long, unless the brothers, if we feeling like we in the spirit and brothers bring out precepts, so be it. Right? But we're gonna first start out in the book of Ruth. Right? We're gonna start out in the book of Ruth, chapter 3. Right? This is the book of Ruth, chapter 3. I want to start at verse 8. And again, we're covering integrity and what integrity. Matter of fact, a lot of people probably don't even know what integrity means. So let's get the definition real quick.
What is this? Think About It Thursday.
So this is integrity, the definition, right? The quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness, right? And as Israelites, as fellow brothers and sisters in the truth, we have to maintain this, and when we maintain it, what is it according to? Is it according to the laws of America? Do we need to have integrity when it comes to the laws of America? No, we need to have integrity when it comes to these laws, statutes, and commandments of the Bible, right? And so here's just a few examples of that. And one I want to say, hey, one of the brothers can give me that scripture. I believe roughly paraphrasing, it's like it goes into, if the Most High God, I think it's that instance with the three Hebrew boys. They said, if the Most High God saves us, it'll be for His glory. If He doesn't, it'll be for His glory. You know what I'm saying? If you could find that scripture,
He has the power to save us, and even if He doesn't, we'll serve the Lord.
Con. Right. If you could find that scripture for me. Before I bring this out, you got to understand, having integrity is not always going to work it out in your favor, right? 9 times out of 10, right, it's going to work. It should work out in your favor if you do the right thing. That's all integrity is doing, right? Is doing the right thing. Y'all all seen that Progressive commercial before, right? Let me see if I can play it real quick. I'm gonna try to play it real quick. Hopefully you don't get flagged for it, man. But it's a classic video, man. It used to be a Progressive commercial. Y'all probably know what I'm talking about.
It's Daniel 3. It's Daniel 3:18.
Con. Remember that for me. Let's see here. Progressive basketball commercial. Let's see. It was Progressive, wasn't it? believe it was Progressive.
Might have been Allstate.
You think so? I could have sworn it was Progressive, man. Was it Geico?
Might have been State Farm. I don't know.
It was Progressive. Con. It was Progressive. It was right here. Con. Here it go right here. He got that dumbfounded face on. Hey, that's a righteous face though, right? I'm gonna share this video real quick.
Fair use.
You can hear the audio.
I cannot. Well, you're not playing none yet, so.
I mean, I was. You can hear that? What in the world, bro?
Probably because you got that mic.
It still should be able to play though. I'm gonna try something real quick. Hopefully it don't echo. You can hear that? You heard that?
Play it. No, I can't.
That's wild, B.
You're only clicking it for like 0.2 seconds. Are you playing it? Play it. Because maybe there's a lag.
Hold up, bro. Let's see.
Yeah, I can't hear nothing.
Can't hear it?
Nah, you want me to play it?
Yeah, if you could find it real quick.
What's the title of it?
I typed in referee progressive basketball commercial.
And what's the title of that specific one? So I can just go straight to it.
Let's see.
Wait, are you on the Hopeful Elect page? Because I could just go to
Yeah.
I could go to the history.
It should be, yeah, it's the Hopeful Elect page.
I got it.
You gonna share your screen? Try that.
Can you hear that?
Con.
All right. Fair use. Fair use.
I touched it. I touched the ball before it went out, coach. Come on, Alex. The ref did not call it. You gotta be kidding me, Alex.
Hey, pause it right there.
Hey.
Right? You see, hey, Alex, man, you the righteous brother, Israelite. He said, hey, look, man, his conscience was eating him up. That's how we got to be in this truth when it comes to these laws, statutes, and commandments. When it comes to doing the right thing, our conscience got to be eating us up to the point where, hey, look, everything is going on around us and we just can't get our mind off of doing the right thing. The brother Alex, his conscience was eating him up. He said, Coach, hey, I got to interrupt you, man. I touched the ball, man. It's out on me. And you might have people in the world, right, that are, beside you, your associates, your friends, family members. They might be talking to you, right, on the side. They might be talking to you like this white boy saying, come on, Alex, it's too late in the game for all of that, right? They're peer pressuring you not to do the right thing. Keep playing it. Finish the video.
Hey, talk to him, coach. I touched it. It's their ball. foul me when they ain't found. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go on, Alex. Sorry, Coach. Alex. Good call. Sportsmanship. Pass it on.
Right, man. That's the
Coach.
Go ahead.
I said, ain't no coach finna say good call.
Hey man, hey, that's the infamous Progressive commercial, man. Right? It's a classic. A lot of good teaching tools from that, though. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things that went on in there. Hey, look, sometimes doing the right thing, it won't feel good. It won't feel good. Sometimes you'll lose the game because you made the right call. As odd as that seems, it will happen that way, right? And I bring that video out just to point out the fact that, hey, look, all else fails, no matter what, you got to do the right thing at the end of the day. And the coach, he kind of looked, his teammates were like, come on, coach, shut this man up. He had a decision to make, right? But the coach had good integrity. He said, hey, look, man, it is what it is. If I sign off on this, right, you know what I'm saying? What message is that saying to these kids? What message is that saying to the ones that I'm supposed to be teaching, right? Everything that I try to instill in them is for nothing at that point. And then you got to understand, a lot of times when you keep integrity, it might not always go your way. But if you don't keep integrity and it catches up with you, right, the outcome can be even worse. But we're going to go to the book of Ruth. A lot of people don't teach out the book of Ruth. The book of Ruth is, you got a lot of teaching tools in here, man. Going to the book of Ruth, chapter 3 and verse number 8. Could you read that for me, brother?
Right. The book of Ruth, chapter 3 and verse number 8. And it came to pass at midnight that the man was afraid and turned himself, and behold, a woman lay at his feet.
Right. So now Ruth, you know what I'm saying? She at this point, she sought out Boaz, right? She finally got close enough to where, she could humble herself to Boaz after he done got drunk and was married, right? And she's presenting herself at his feet. Keep reading.
Verse 9. And he said, who art thou? And she answered, I am Ruth, thine handmaid. Spread therefore thy skirt over thine handmaid, for thou art a near kinsman.
Now, if you don't know, right, Ruth, right, her husband died. Now, in our laws, when your husband dies and you haven't bore a son yet to carry on his name, you are to go to the nearest kinsman, right? If he had a brother, right, or if he didn't have a brother, then you would go to his closest cousin, right? If he didn't have a closest cousin, you go to his uncle, and so far, so on and so on, right? Boaz was her husband's close kinsman. I'm not gonna say closest kinsman, but I'm gonna say close kinsman, right? So he can fulfill this law of laying down with her, taking her in as a wife to sustain her ex-husband's name, if that makes sense, right? This was a law. This is important to know because, hey, look, there's several laws in the Bible that a lot of our people do not know that we should probably take heed to, right? Because everything must be done decent and in order, and you have to have integrity to do so. But to have integrity, you have to have the understanding, and you have to know the law, statutes, and commandments. While we always harp, we got to read this book, right? Keep reading though, verse 10.
And he said, blessed be thou of the Lord, my daughter, for thou hast showed more kindness in the latter end than at the beginning. Inasmuch as thou followedest not young men, whether poor or rich. And now, my daughter, fear not, I will do to thee all that thou requirest. For all the city of my people doth know that thou art a virtuous woman.
Right? Ruth was a virtuous woman, right? Boaz is saying, sure, if it's on me to fulfill this law of the nearest kinsman, I'll do it, right? But he says something else. Keep reading.
And now it is true that I am thy near kinsman, howbeit there is a kinsman nearer than I.
Right. He said there's a kinsman near. It's like, I would love to do this. You're a virtuous woman. I'm attracted to you, right? I would love to make you my wife, but I'm not your nearest kinsman. We have to go down the pecking order. We have to do things decent and in order. Now, I bring this out to say, hey, look, at this moment, she's already laying at this man's feet, right? She's already, hey, look, I don't we keep it PG around here, but she's already asking for it. She says, spread your skirt over me, right? Make me your wife. At this point, and he's married too. There's a point where he might not even be sober at this point, but he still what? He still kept integrity. He could have laid with her and made it his wife right then. But read verse 12 one more time.
And now it is true that I am thy near kinsman. Howbeit there is a kinsman nearer than I.
He was able to tap into his proper judgment. And it says Boaz was a stand-up guy. He was an upright man. He was a mighty man. And we know why, because he was able to have self-discipline and keep integrity, much like Alex in the Progressive commercial, right? He could have said, you know, hey, that ball wasn't out on me, coach. Let's take this thing. Take this thing on home, right? Just like Boaz could have said, hey, look, I am your nearest kinsman, and laid down with her. But he said, no, there's a nearer kinsman than me. We have to check with him first, right? Read verse 13 for me.
Verse 13. Can you scroll up a little bit?
Salakia.
Verse 13. Tarry this night, and it shall be in the morning that if he will perform unto thee the part of a kinsman, well, let him do the kinsman part. But if he will not do the part of a kinsman to thee, then will I do the part of a kinsman to thee. And as Salakia, as the Lord liveth, lie down unto the morning.
Man. So he's telling her plain, right? And a lot of times we got to do this, especially when we start courting people and things of this nature, and we get those urges come upon us, right? That burning lust comes upon us. A lot of us can't tap into this integrity. A lot of us can't tap into this self-discipline, right? And we see Boaz is doing that. Although he might want to lie down with her, it's clear that he wants to lie down with her and make her wife. He understands that there's a pecking order. There's everything must be done decent and in order. And he's sticking fast to what? These laws, statutes, and commandments, right? I'm gonna go to the next chapter. We're gonna see what happens, right? Because we already went over the fact that, hey, look, when you keep integrity, it might not always work in your favor. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. We're gonna see what happened with Boaz and Ruth, and did it work out in their favor, right? We're gonna go to the book of Ruth, chapter 4, and let's go to verse number 3. Go ahead.
Look at Ruth chapter 4 and verse number 3. And he said unto the kinsman, Naomi, that is come again out of the country of Moab, selleth the parcel of land, which was our.
Hold on. Come on. Wait. You can start at verse 1. Slakia.
Verse 1. Then went Boaz up to the gate and sat him down there, and behold, the kinsman of whom Boaz spake came by.
Right. So Boaz was he brought up this man that was the nearer kinsman than him, right? And he finally seen him. And let's see what he's about to do. Keep reading.
Salakia. Unto whom he said, Ho, such a one, turn aside, sit down here. And he turned aside and sat down.
So he said, hey, look, man, come here, man. We gotta talk, right? I know you're busy right now. We gotta straighten out some things, right? Keep reading verse number 2.
And he took 10 men of the elders of the city and said, sit ye down here. And they sat down.
Keep reading. Because they needed witnesses, right? Whatever this man's about to say, they needed witnesses. You know what I'm saying? This is how we did things. Everything was decent in order and with integrity. Verse number 3.
And he said unto the kinsman, Naomi, that is come again out of the country of Moab, selleth a parcel of land, which was our brother Elimelech. And I thought to advertise thee, saying, buy it before the inhabitants and before the elders of my people. If thou wilt redeem it, redeem it. But if thou wilt not redeem it, then tell me, that I may know. For there is none to redeem it beside thee, and I am after thee. And he said, I will redeem it.
Man, right? And so, you know, one thing about having integrity is sometimes, hey, you can be witty with your words too, man. We understand that he really wanted Ruth, right? And when I was reading this, I was like, hold on, he talking about a land? Is he talking to, is he talking in parables right here? He's not talking in parables, but he's actually adding to the situation too, right? He probably has a 411 on Buddy. You know what I'm saying? He knows what would be kind of like a turn off to him to take this deal, right? But he still got to have integrity, right? And so he finds a way to keep his integrity, right? And for his slate to be clean, for his hands to be clean. Keep reading for me.
Then said Boaz, what day thou buyest the field of the hand of Naomi, thou must buy it also of Ruth the Moabitess.
So he said, now when you take this, he said, but he's playing it like Ruth is the second op, the not the icing on top. She just comes with it, like she's the batteries, right? The main source was the land he's talking about, and then he's saying, oh yeah, if you buy the land, then this girl named Ruth, she comes with it, right? Keep reading.
Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance.
Keep reading.
And the kinsman said, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar mine own inheritance. Redeem thou my right to thyself, for I cannot redeem it.
Right. See, that's why I was saying he had the 401 on Buddy, because he probably knew that the guy, the brother, had enough on his plate already to where he couldn't be able to take care of somebody else's land and somebody else's ex-wife, right? Or somebody's widow, right? So the way he painted it made it seem like, hey, look, it'd just be best for you to just let me do this thing. But I wanted to say, hey, look, integrity in this moment, it worked out for Boaz. Keeping integrity, it worked out. And then you know what this does? Once everything is set in stone, after all of this, you can sleep at night. You don't have to go to sleep always. Your conscience eating you up, thinking like, dang, I done stole this damsel, and I didn't even go about it the right way, right? Even in the world today, I done took this deal, I done took this job, knowing that I should have mentioned, hey, look, I wanted Sabbath off. Yeah. Right.
That's
you done took the job. You didn't even mention to them that you want to keep the Sabbath.
Right. That's like a lot of people did the PPP and those different scams like that. You got to kind of sleep every night thinking, well, you might sleep peacefully because, I know how our people are. Wait. Before you leave, go back down. You might, every night you be thinking, man, the IRS might come for me. Oh, this year might be the year they come knocking on my door. They're investigating and they've already been mapping my whereabouts out, right? You got to think about that because you did something that was not in integrity, right? Which, guess what? Boaz could have did that when he asked for the near kinsman to come sit down. In his mind, he could have been like, pray, I hope he just doesn't, I hope he doesn't want her, and then we could just go about everything. But no, he went further than that and got the witnesses too, so that way he can sleep peacefully at night. He don't have to worry about the IRS coming back and knocking and saying, hey, look, I said that, but I kind of want her back now. I kind of want that land back now, right? I want to say that to go to, I think it's verse 11.
And verse 11, and so all the people.
Verse 11. Verse 11.
Verse 11. And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, we are witnesses. The Lord make the woman that is come into thine house like Rachel and Leah, which two did build the house of Israel, and do thou worthily in Ephratah, and be famous in Bethlehem.
So, sometimes when you do things decent and in order and with integrity, right? You don't even have to speak up because other people will speak up for you, right? If people are if you're known to be a person of integrity, you will have people speak on your behalf as witnesses because you did things the right way.
Right. And keeping that integrity is a seed being sown, a seed of righteousness. And when you sow that seed of integrity, then you start to see it start blooming, right? That's what we talk about all the time. Just do the right thing. A lot of good can come from doing the right thing, even if you can't even see it at first, right? There's always a risk factor that comes with doing the right thing, right? But it's a good risk factor. If you have what? If you have faith in the Lord. What's the definition of faith, right?
You talking about Hebrews 11?
Con, right?
Now,
Evidence of
faith,
things.
it said,
Go
what
ahead.
is it? The substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen.
Con, man, right? The evidence of things not seen. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's a substance of things that's hopes for. I'm hoping I can bag Ruth, right? I'm having the faith I can. You know what I'm saying? I just got to keep this integrity first, right? I got one more witness, man, and then after this witness, I want to bring out that account in Daniel as well.
And I got an example as well.
Con. I'm gonna go to the book of Second Maccabees,
Chapter 7 or 6.
6. 6, man. You know we got to go to the mighty man. The mighty man. Probably the mightiest, one of the mightiest men in the Bible, man. Really underrated, right? Let's see. Where do I want to start at for Nas? Where do I want to start at? Well, I guess this is what's the name right here. But he just, okay, yeah. We got it right here. We'll read verse 18 through 22.
Con. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes and aged men, and of well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh.
Right, man. So we know it's against the law, statutes, and commandments to eat swine, pork, pig, right? But what did these men do when Eleazar was in captivity? They bound him up and they try to open his mouth. It always brings you back to that one clip that's in The Birth of a Nation where them slaves wouldn't eat and they pried their mouth open, put a funnel in there, and poured some grits down their mouth, right? That's what I see every time I read this, right? But they did the same thing to him, right? They restrained him and they forced his mouth open so he can eat this swine's flesh. Keep reading for me.
But he choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth and came of his own accord to the torment.
Right. And they managed to land it inside of his mouth, but he spit it back out. Why? Because he had integrity. He's keeping this integrity of this Bible, right? Keep reading.
As it behooved them to come that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted.
Right. Not even for the love of your life should you be tasting these things, right? Keep reading.
But they that had the charge of the wicked feast, for the old acquaintance they had with the man, taking him aside, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision,
This is the point.
such as was lawful for him to use, and make as if he did eat the flesh taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king.
Con, man. So what they do? They say, "Hey, look, man. Hey, look. We understand. We understand. We get it. You're not supposed to eat this meat. Matter of fact, why don't you go get you some nice choice venison? Right? We know that's lawful for you to eat. Just pretend like you're eating the swine. Just pretend that you're eating the swine, right? Let's see what he did. Right? Keep reading.
But they that in so doing he might be delivered from death, and for the old friendship with them find favor.
Right. Keep reading.
Can you scroll up for me? But he began to consider discreetly, and as became this age, and the excellency of his ancient years, and the honor of his gray head, whereon was come, and his most honest education from a child, or rather the holy law, made and given by God, Therefore he answered accordingly and willed them straightways to send him to the grave.
Hey, man, he said, hey, look, man, I have too much integrity to do that, right? I've been lived all my years according to these laws, statutes, and commandments, and it's not for nothing. Matter of fact, go ahead and kill me now, right? That's how much integrity I'm gonna have, right? And if you keep reading, man, they went ahead, man, and they took the man's life. That's why I said, hey, look, when you have integrity, it can turn out good for you, and it might turn out bad for you. This man was forced to trick his people into doing something that they shouldn't be doing, right? He could have ate that. He could have took their deal, right? He could have brought his own meat and it was lawful, right? And ate it and had everybody think that he's eating this swine. But then you got to think all the people that's looking up to him thinking, well, if he's doing it, I might as well do it too.
Right, that's verse 25.
Right? You can read verse 25 if you want.
And so they, through mine and hypocrisy and desire to live a little time and a moment longer, should be deceived by me, and I get a stain to mine old age and make it abominable.
Why is he getting this stain on his old age? Because he's having a lack of integrity. When you have a lack of integrity, it puts a stain on your name. Sometimes it can put a stain on there for the rest of your life. You do one thing that's lacking integrity, it'll put a stain on you that's life lasting, right?
Right. Verse 26 is the point of integrity.
Con.
For though for the present time I should be delivered from the punishment of men, yet should I not escape the hand of the Almighty, neither alive nor dead.
Con, man. Just like that. We have to have integrity, man. Whether we know it's gonna lead to a good outcome or a bad outcome, at the end of the day, we signed up. We went over this yesterday too, man. We signed up. We made a deal with the Most High to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, and we got to maintain that integrity, whether we like it, believe it or not. Right? Con, go ahead.
If I can add too, that's not even necessarily, I get what you're saying, but even in the sense, you got to think about it like this. That doesn't even have to necessarily be a bad outcome of keeping the faith until death, right? Keeping integrity until death. Yeah, I know you're not saying that, but I'm just elaborating on that because you got to think about it like this, right? Even though, like he said, like Eleazar said, man, hey, look, if he eats this pork right here, right now, hey, all the torment and punishment he's about to go through stopping, right? But you got to think he received that with gladness because he knew that there was a greater reward on the other side of life than whether if he had ate that pork, right? And that's all it boils down to is when it comes to keeping your integrity, you got to think about, like we talk about in economics, it's called looking at the opportunity cost. What am I going to lose out on? What is something that is this greater than what I might lose out on or miss out on later on down the road? It's kind of similar to like the time value of money, right? But at the end of the day, like you said, it's still a good reward. It's still a good outcome, even with him being put to death in the physical. But
Con, that's a mighty point. You know what I'm saying? And so to tie that all in, man, it might not be what you want, flesh to your flesh, carnally, right? But spiritually, man, what does it say? Fear not the one that can kill the body, but fear the one that can kill the body and the soul, right? Your body might be dead, but your soul's gonna live on, right? So that's still a good outcome, like the brother's saying. Mighty point.
Verse 28, I feel like brings it home. I know I keep adding to it, but it says, and leave a notable example to such as be young to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws. And when he had said these words, immediately he went to the torment.
Con, man. Emphasis on where it says right there, die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws. This is what it means to have integrity, to do what's right no matter the cost, no matter the outcome, to do what's right, to stick to these holy laws, right? These laws, statutes, and commandments. What's the account you wanted to bring out?
The one you wanted to bring out was Daniel 3:18. The one I wanted to bring
I want to bring that Daniel one out at the end as a conclusion.
Con, 1 Samuel 26:8. Well, actually, before you go there first, can you go to Psalms 105:15? It's a short verse, just to kind of preference 1 Samuel.
105 and what? 15?
Con.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 105 and verse 15, saying, touch not mine anointed and do my prophets no harm.
You gotta know the law and the prophets, man. And you gotta know what the Most High God wants to keep integrity. Right? Now we can go into 1 Samuel 26 and verse 8. Because we know, hey, when I think about integrity, two men come to mind, David and Job, right? And this is why the Most High God was dealing with these men in the way they was, because they had so much integrity, right?
I forgot all about Job. This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 26 and verse number 8. Then said Abishai to David, God hath delivered thine enemy into thine hand this day.
Right.
Now,
so here, a lot of times, man, you get that thought like, man, God wouldn't have put this in front of me if he didn't want me to have it. God wouldn't have ordered my steps aright. God wouldn't have brought me here if this wasn't so. A lot of times you'll talk yourself into, you'll be the Abishai there'll be an Abishai in your head telling you, hey, God wants you to have this, right? But you have to be prudent, circumspect in all things, and you have to keep integrity, right? It doesn't matter what other people might say, how other people might counsel you. You have to know for yourself. That's where study to show thyself approved comes into play, right? Keep reading, please.
Now, therefore, let me smite him, I pray thee, with the spear, even to the earth at once, and I will not smite him the second time. I promise.
You know what I'm saying? Promise. A lot of times we just want to do what our flesh wants to do. We don't even want to think twice. We just want to do it, right? But
hey, that's a mighty point, man. We get into this world, man. Man, I just wanna hit him so bad. I just want to hit him. Hey, look, even in the world, man, we see a good looking sister. Girls will see a good looking brother, right? If I could just have one night with her, man, right? If I could just, man, you know what I'm saying?
I wonder what it's like to be so-and-so's husband. I wonder what it's like to be so-and-so's wife, right?
Right.
A lot of brothers
like
that.
Right. So like it, I'll just say this, you know what I'm saying? You start saying those things over and over again, man, to when you finally get the opportunity, your integrity is in question, you fold every time.
And that's what James is talking about in the book of James, where it says that lust is conceived and then sin is carried out, right? But right here, just to give you backstory, David has been running away from Saul, who's trying to kill him, right? David had to play like he was a crazy man, go into all these different other nations and hide. And now he has before him the man that's trying to kill him. He has the opportunity to kill him, and he don't even have to lay a hand on him. His servant would do it for him. Let's see what David says.
And David said to Abishai, "Destroy him not, for who can stretch forth his hand against the Lord's anointed and be guiltless?"
Right. David didn't want that guilt on his hand, because look, the people might have saw him as a warrior and a prince and a savior and a king, and they might have congratulated him for destroying his enemy. But he know that the Most High God had an anointing on Saul. So yeah, Saul messed up, but there were still prophets and priests that anointed Saul. That's God's anointed. So he doesn't want that guilt on him from God, right? To hell what everybody else thinks. I'm worried about what God thinks. So he wants to be guiltless. So he said, touch not God's anointed. So even though he had the opportunity to do something that his flesh wanted to do, he kept that integrity and he didn't do it. Right. So I thought that was a mighty example.
It's a mighty example, man. And that just goes back to that point of, hey, look, you have a lack of integrity, and you're saying that you're in this truth, you're abiding by these laws, statutes, and commandments. Hey, David was known to have a heart after the Most High God, right? That's why, these things, if you have a heart towards the Most High God, like the brother said, he would feel guilt. He would feel guilty. His conscience would eat him up, just like we were talking about before.
Con, before you go to Daniel real quick, can you go to 1 Samuel 15?
Con.
Right? Because since we're on the subject of Saul, you know, the brothers brought out a point of showing how, you know, Boaz decided to keep the integrity and do things decently in order when it came to Ruth. The brother showed the point of, you know, how, hey, look, even with keeping the integrity when it came to Eleazar, you know, hey, it still didn't necessarily work out in the way maybe Eleazar would have loved it to on this side of life, but he still kept that integrity regardless, right? And now we just went into King David. But let's talk about King Saul. This is an opportunity to show someone who lacked integrity, right? When it mattered most, right? This is 1 Samuel chapter 15. I'm gonna start at verse number 2, right? It says, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts." I
You
remember
want me to
that
read
which,
it for you?
no, you can if you want to.
Verse number 2, right? Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt.
Uh-huh.
Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass.
So Saul right here is commanded to slay Amalek and destroy everything they have, spare nothing, right? Hey, utterly destroy them, wipe them from off the face of the earth, right? Now let's keep reading.
And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telaim,
Uh-huh.
200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah.
Right. So he took those men with him. Now jump down to verse 7.
Verse number 7. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou cometh to Shur, that is over against Egypt.
Uh-huh. Keep
And
reading.
he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword.
So he took somebody alive and he destroyed all people with the edge of the sword. But keep reading.
But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep and of the oxen and of the fatlings and the lambs and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refuse, that they destroyed utterly.
See that? So right here, he lacked integrity, right? He may have thought he was doing something right in his mind. He's like, well, I know I was commanded to destroy all these things, right? But I'm going to save the best for our people. You know, I'm going to take the good of the good, right? But if you go scroll back up to verse 3 real quick, what does it say right here? It says, go
Thus
ahead.
saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt.
Verse 3.
Oh, Slakia. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and
No,
spare
some
them
of what
not.
they have.
All that they have, and spare them not,
No, spare them.
and spare them not.
He was commanded to spare them not, but either way it goes, Saul lacked integrity, and guess what? He didn't do that. He spared King Agag, and guess what he spared? He also spared the best of the sheep, the best of the cattle, the suckling, the ox, the infant. You know what I'm saying? This is where people lack integrity. Like Brother Azrael said, sometimes we get in this spirit of when it's before me, it's like, surely the Lord, you know, wants me to have this, putting this all in front of my face like this. But sometimes you got to keep the integrity. You have to keep the integrity, right? And obey the commandments of the Most High, right? But I yield.
That's a mighty point, man. You know, and you know, the Most High could have had this conversation directly with Saul, right? You know what I'm saying? He could have told Saul alone. And Saul, in his mind, he might be thinking, yeah, man, we can save all the good stuff for ourselves. They don't know that the Most High told me to kill everybody. You know what I'm saying? They're at my command. You know what I'm saying? What they don't know won't hurt them. But yes, it will. Right? If you keep reading, you'll find out that later on, man, it did come to bite him in the butt, right? Because we have to have integrity. If you don't keep integrity, sooner or later, what does he say? My judgment is like a ring, right? What goes around comes around. You're gonna end up paying for it later, right? You had something to say, Brother Azrael?
No, I was gonna say Daniel 3:18.
Daniel 3:18. Oh, that's the closing precept.
Con.
Hey, look too, like you just said, man, that Saul situation. Hey, it comes back to bite you in the butt, like the brother said. You know, if you go read 1 Samuel, I want to say that's 28. You can see the way in which Saul went out. You know what I'm saying? How the Lord did away with him and utterly. You know what I'm saying? Because he just wasn't obedient. He didn't have integrity. But
Con. And the brother brought up a mighty point also, man. Y'all go read the book of Genesis 38 and 11 as well, right? Where Judah showed his lack of integrity, right? There's so many things that we could have dove into tonight when it comes to integrity, right? One thing that just flashed across my mind as we were just talking about it was, you know, the incident where Joseph had to keep his integrity when was that the Pharaoh's wife, or was it just
I think it was the Pharaoh's commander's wife or something.
yeah, the
like that.
commander's wife.
Potiphar's
Potiphar's wife came on to him, right? He had to have some integrity in that guy, and it landed him in prison, right? It
For
landed him in
years.
prison for
Sometimes
years.
integrity it'll land you in prison, man.
It'll land you in prison, but at the end of the day, man, it worked out for his good.
For
You
real
know what I'm
quick,
saying?
one more point too. If you watch the movie The Central Park 5, when it came to the case of Corey, the last brother, they kept asking him when he was in jail, right? This is after, you know, they had got falsely convicted and sentenced, right? So after they moved him to different prisons, he separated from his family, you know, years and years is going by. They're trying to get this man out of jail if he confesses that he raped that woman in that Central Park. The whole time he kept saying, well, nah, I just stay in jail. I just stay in jail, right?
He said,
Why?
if I say that, I'd be lying.
Right. He kept his integrity, and it cost him to stay in jail, in prison, a lot longer than what he should have. But
That's
guess
a mighty
what?
point.
He kept his integrity.
That's a mighty point. Brother was almost like Joseph back on the earth again. No folly. But hey, look, that was a mighty point. And you know, it takes a lot of self-discipline to keep integrity, man. Especially when, you know, living in the world and living amongst other nations, right? Joseph was living amongst other nations, right? He knows how we got down, but you know, them Egyptians, it was something else. And you know, that Egyptian wife came on to him. He could have easily, you know, was feeling himself at the time. He was high and mighty. He was well respected in the land, right? He could have easily took it upon himself to lie with her.
Because you know what? Integrity is what you do when nobody's looking. Nobody knew what was happening. Joseph could have did that act and nobody would have knew. Right? There's stuff that we do on a day-to-day that even in this truth, you can go and celebrate Valentine's Day and keep it off of social media. Nobody will know. You can go and celebrate Christmas. Nobody will know. Right? There's plenty of things you can work on a Sabbath, right, and not keep the Sabbath. Nobody will know. You could keep saying Shalom, all this, but guess what?
You can go to the strip club by night. Nobody would know. You go get you a prostitute. Nobody would know.
But you can mistreat your wife. You can mistreat your husband, right?
Hey, you can be caught. You can be caught in Walmart on the Shabbat. Nobody would know.
Guess what? You have to keep your integrity wherever you go. Yeah, I know sometimes you might slip, sometimes you might fall, but majority of your life, you should always be thinking ahead, and you should always be thinking of what does the Most High God want me to do, right? In the world, they have WWJD. You know what I'm saying? That's not a false statement. What would Christ do in this situation, right?
You said it was Daniel 3:9?
3:8.
3:8.
No. Daniel 20:29.
I thought you said 3:18.
Salaki, I didn't mean that. It's Daniel 3:18. My bad. You right. Brother Brother Yeshaya, you know, had the
hey, I gotta jump out this thing. But hey, Shalom, mighty lesson real quick.
This is the last precept.
But if not, be it known unto thee, O King. Salaki, let's start at verse 17. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O King. But if not, be it known unto thee, O King, that we will not serve thy gods nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up.
Man. And with that, man, we say Shalom, man. And this lesson, man, was that summed up in 2 verses, right? You have to do the right thing. You have to keep integrity, right? No matter what. whether the Most High God will save you or the Most High God will bring persecution upon you. You have to keep integrity no matter what, right? And with that, I yield. Do you have anything to say, brother? Khan, man. I'm Brother Donald.
Brother Azrael.
And I hope this brought some edification to you guys and some thought on this thing about it Thursday. With that, we say Shalom, study hard, Israel. Shalom.